Guys, what's going on? James here, and welcome back to yet another video where I break down all the positions of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Today, we are going to be talking about cornerbacks. Obviously, this is one of the more improved positions for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They spent a couple of draft picks putting some guys in there to compete for some starting spots. So, looking at the guys, you have Carlton Davis, you have Javian Elliott, you have Maurice Fleming, you have Brent Grimes, Vernon Hargreaves, Mark Myers, David Rivers, Josh Robinson, Ryan Smith, as well as MJ Stewart. So obviously there's a lot of names there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 10. You have 10 cornerbacks on your roster. So it's obviously quite a lot. So there's a lot to go through here. So let's start with a couple of guys like Maurice Fleming, guys like Mark Myers, David Rivers, and those three names. We'll start off with those three. So Maurice Fleming obviously has had time with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was on Hard Knocks last year, and he actually impressed pretty well, enough to get a contract even after going on the injured reserve. I feel like that's pretty impressive for an undrafted rookie. They did like his heart and his determination, specifically because he was playing after he got injured. That was kind of one of the big stories of the episode of Hard Knocks. So for him, for like guys like Fleming, Mark Myers, David Rivers, and even David Rivers spent some time with the Bucs towards the end of the year. They're either going to be battling for that fifth cornerback spot. I don't think the Bucs are going to carry 6 cornerbacks, so you figure they've got to fight for that fifth cornerback spot, or maybe they'll try and fight for a practice squad. I think Maurice Fleming specifically is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm a very big supporter of Fleming. I think he's going to do a lot of big things for the Bucs. I think he's going to have a very nice role. I do like Myers and Rivers as well, and maybe they can end up in the practice squad or something along those lines, but Fleming kind of has the edge out of those 3 guys in my opinion. The guy has a lot of heart, and I feel like he has a good bit of talent to go with that heart. Moving on, though, you have guys like Javian Elliott, Josh Robinson, and Ryan Smith. So for Josh Robinson, obviously, I think he is going to make the roster, just not so much as a cornerback. That's just what the Bucs official website has him listed as. But if you ask me, he's kind of a backup safety at this point, and he's pretty much just a special teams ace. He's one of the better special team gunners in the league, in my opinion. So like him a lot. I think he's phenomenal. Javian Elliott and Ryan Smith. Okay, now this is interesting because you have realistically 4 cornerbacks who you know are going to make the roster. MJ Stewart, Vernon Hargreaves, Brent Grimes, and Carlton Davis. So for guys like Maurice Fleming, Javian Elliott, Rivers, Myers, and Ryan Smith, that's going to be kind of interesting to see them all battle for that 5th cornerback spot. And I think even Mike Smith came out and said, like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition for that 5th cornerback spot. So does a guy like Ryan Smith and Javian Elliott, who have had starting cornerback experience up to this point with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do they have the edge on guys like Fleming, Myers, and Rivers? I think you would probably have to assume yes. Obviously, Smith might not have had the best time as a starting cornerback. He was put into a rough position, and it wasn't very good, but the coaching staff probably assumes that he's improved a lot. I'm sure he has improved at least a certain amount. Same with Javian Elliott, who's kind of been hanging on for a while. So it'll be interesting to see who ends up winning that 5th cornerback spot, like I said earlier. But for Elliott and Smith, Ryan Smith, it's tough to call which one of them would have the edge, I assume, because with Smith, he might not have had the best time. He did okay for some parts, but there were some parts where he just looked very lost. I feel like if you can fix that, he does have very good size, and I think he has good speed and whatnot. He just has to fix his ability of just getting lost and just overall getting burned. That's probably not good. And then for Elliott, a lot of people liked him as our slot guy, as our nickel corner last year with Hargreaves and Grimes. You put Elliott in the slot. People liked that. A lot of people liked Javian Elliott. Mainly people were fans of FSU, stuff like that. So I expect there to be a very big battle for that 5th cornerback spot. And, obviously, I don't think they're going to carry 6 cornerbacks. So a guy like Javian Elliott or a guy like Ryan Smith, who who diehard Buck fans who have been paying attention to the past couple of seasons, they might not be on the team anymore, and that's a surprise. It's obviously not going to be that shocking, but those guys were starting cornerbacks for us last season, and they might not even be on the team this year. I think that just goes to show how much we've tried to improve the cornerback position. But moving on to one of our top 4 cornerbacks I'm going to be talking about is MJ Stewart. Now, MJ Stewart, like I said, he's a very versatile cornerback. When I was back making videos talking about all the people who were drafted, versatility is kind of his thing, because he can play safety, he can play nickel corner, he can play outside, he can play a lot of things. And I think the Bucs are going to try him to start off at the nickel cornerback position. It's going to be Hargreaves versus him, and we'll see what happens there. I like Stewart's chances of winning. A lot of people, when he was drafted, a lot of people said, like, okay, MJ Stewart is one of the best, if not the best, slot corners in this draft, and that's what the Bucs are getting with this. And I think that's kind of part of the Bucs' design with this, with them drafting Stewart, was because they kind of wanted to try and have Hargreaves hop back outside and, give him a chance to maybe become to develop into a true number 1 cornerback after Brent Grimes leaves and stuff like that. He's very good at press coverage, as are a lot of the Bucs cornerbacks except for Brent Grimes. So it's actually, more recently they asked Mike Smith, like, hey, why aren't you playing press coverage with these guys if they're good at press coverage? A pretty logical question to ask. And Mike Smith basically said, if guys are good at press coverage, we'll put them in press coverage, and if they're good at playing off, we'll play them off, open to changes, stuff like that. And I like that answer, I guess. It's kind of a cop-out answer, in my opinion. But if they do start playing guys like Stewart and guys like Davis and Hargreaves in press, I think we're going to be seeing a very, very much more improved cornerback situation rather than last year, where everybody was kind of playing off, and there were some growing pains with that. Obviously, you're going to get better. I think Hargreaves is better playing off now, and guys like Stewart and Davis are also going to have to go through those growing pains as well if they decide to play more off, which I think they will. Moving on, though, to Carlton Davis, Vernon Hargreaves, those two, they're going to be battling for that outside spot. I love Carlton Davis. Like, he is ideally eventual number 1 cornerback for me. Big things for him. He's got good size. He's got very good length. I think a lot of people actually were like, oh, well, a lot of people underrated his length. But whenever you look at the photos and the videos from the rookie minicamp, like, he is got a good amount of size on the rest of the Bucs cornerbacks, and it's very noticeable. So, he's kind of a guy, I think, that you can develop into a future number 1 cornerback, at least a number 2. And I like that our top 4 cornerbacks now are like, a former first-round pick, 2 former second-round picks, and just kind of a very nice veteran option, like a star caliber. Brenton Grimes is really good. Veteran option. I like that's our 4 cornerbacks, because it gives us depth. If Grimes went down with an injury, Carlton Davis could step in. If Hargreaves went down, maybe MJ Stewart could step in. We have flexibility now with our depth, and that's something I really wanted for the cornerback position. And we got that in Davis and in MJ Stewart. Now, Hargreaves is an interesting subject, because Mike Smith recently said, like, oh, he's going to compete for an outside cornerback spot, and he's going to compete for that nickel cornerback spot in obviously nickel packages. So it's kind of that hybrid role that Rondé Barber had. Somebody alluded to, I think, on Twitter. So, man, we're really gunning hard for that whole Hargreaves experiment thing, and I think it's fine. I don't think it's a bad thing. If he does bad, worst comes to worst, you put in your rookies, that's just, we have that kind of flexibility and depth now, to where if it doesn't work, if Hargreaves maybe is better in sub packages than he is in starting quarterbacks, well, then put Carlton Davis or MJ Stewart in the number 2 quarterback position. If he's not doing so good in the nickel, put MJ Stewart there. We have options now, and that's pretty good. Honestly, I don't think Hargreaves is going to do bad. I think he's going to have a very fine season. And he's obviously going to be a big part of this cornerback situation, just in the defense in general. And I think that's needed, obviously, after Grimes. He is the most experienced cornerback on this team right now, except for technically Josh Robinson, but you get what I'm saying. He has the most starting experience besides Grimes, so it's, Hargreaves probably needs to step up and be kind of a leader for that cornerback room moving forward, especially after Brent Grimes leaves. I think that's something he can do, and I think he can grow into a productive corner for the Buccaneers. He just needs more time. And I think this year he's really going to prove that he does belong as a good not top tier, but he belongs as a starting cornerback for the Buccaneers. I think he will prove that this upcoming season. Finally, he will be able to put it all together. And then finally, obviously, Brent Grimes. What is there to be said about Brent Grimes? Obviously, you assume that he'll take a step back, but we've been assuming that for the past couple of years now, and he hasn't. So he's just really good. I love Brent Grimes, and I think he will still have a good season. He'll probably play good until he retires, if I'm being honest. Kind of like how Rondé Barber did, where he was just always pretty decent until he retired. Like, he was never really much of a liability. I don't think Brent Grimes is much of a liability either. He should be good all up until he retires, and this might be his last season. And if it is, we have some good guys in place to take over for him with Carlton Davis, MJ Stewart, and Vernon Hargreaves III. Just, we got backup plans, man. We got backup plans, and it's a good thing. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Do you love the Bucs' new quarterback situation with Grimes, Hargreaves, Carlton Davis, and MJ Stewart? Let me know. Anyway, guys, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, all that stuff, all that's down in the description below as well. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video, but until then, goodbye for now, guys. See ya.